Etsy shop owner, photographer, photography nonprofit, coaching photographers in business, teaching women how to do business, and now I'm a business coach and brand strategist. That is my journey over the last 15 years. I'm going to go back to my first business, and I want to talk to you about the 5 things I learned from that business that has really helped the rest of my businesses grow. My name is Michelle Gifford. I'm a brand and marketing strategist, and I help you build your brand online so you can create the business you feel called to create. And I want you to subscribe because I'm going to give you real, efficient, and effective business strategies. And listen, I'm a mom. I have 5 kids, and I know you don't have time to waste. So we're going to get to it. So let me give you a little bit of background. 15 years ago, I was 8 months pregnant. My husband and I were moving to Arizona so that he could go to medical school. And I was waiting for the arrival of my baby. Now, I had to quit my job and move. And so I didn't have much to do. And I remember feeling like, I needed to create and I wanted to do something. And so I started an Etsy shop where I sold little girl hats. Yep, that's right, with the hats with the big bows on it. And I just remember that moment when I listed those hats, and then within 48 hours, I sold 5 hats. It was amazing. And that's when I realized how magic this online business could be. And so I started selling more and doing more. And it turned into something different than I'd ever created. So I started selling little girl hats because I was just testing it. I knew I could do that, and I put it out there. And it slowly transformed into me making custom little girl dresses. I was using the best fabric. I was making these beautiful dresses. And then from there, I started making dress kits. I would cut out all the pieces, and then I would make little kits for them so someone could take it and sew it, and they could learn to sew with these dress kits. And then that turned to me making patterns. Okay, that is my Etsy journey. It was pretty successful for me, especially as I was having babies and growing a business. So what 5 things have I learned from that Etsy experience? I just need you to know that this was bootstrapping at its finest. I didn't have money for a course. I didn't have anyone I knew who was doing what I was doing. And so I just started. So let's start with number 1. Lean into what makes you different. So this applies to everyone. A lot of times, especially now when we can see everyone else's business and the content that they're putting out, we look left and we look right and we look to other people to figure out what we should be doing. But the truth is that there is something that makes you different. Now, when I was doing my dress kits, you know what made me different is that I was actually doing kits. Everyone else was selling patterns or their dresses made. And I knew that there was a niche out there, a group of women who wanted to do homemade dresses, but the cutting out of the dress was actually so scary and it stopped them from sewing. And so I took that away from them. I took that fear away from them. All of the pieces came already cut out and they could just sew and put it together. And that made me different, and that made me more successful. So there is something that you are doing that is different than other people. How can you do it more? If you notice on Instagram, you probably have some favorite people that you follow, right? Why do you follow them? Is it because they're like everyone else, or is there something that they do that really helps you? It's the stuff that makes them different that makes you follow, right? So what makes you different, and how could you do more of it? That's what we want to do. And I know it can feel scary, right? It can feel scary because you're like, well, no one else is doing this. Does that mean that it's not good and that I shouldn't do that? Probably not. It's probably that you are special and you need to put your voice out there. Number 2, which goes right alongside of it, but comparison robs your creativity. So when I would look at all of the other people making dresses, then I suddenly was thinking of ways I could make the dress that I just saw, instead of letting myself be inspired by other things and creating my own stuff. And so that happens now. I mean, we spend a lot of time scrolling on Instagram, looking at reels or looking at how everyone else is doing it. And we start comparing our content. And you know what that does? It kills our creativity because suddenly we're trying to duplicate what someone's already done. And we need to take a breath, take a step, and start creating content that is just for us, that is just for us helping our audience. And because when we start to copy people, then we are not using our creativity, right? And that's where it starts, is comparing with others. So don't compare with others. Don't. You'll never feel enough. You'll never feel like you're the best. You'll never feel good enough. You've got to create in your space and show up and serve your audience in the best way that you can. Number 3 is don't be afraid to pivot. Now, I told you my Etsy journey, right? There were a lot of pivots along the way. And if you're just starting out your business, you probably don't have all the information that you need to know to make the best business decision for you. So do you think that I should have stayed for 15 years and done little girl hats? Maybe, but probably not, right? I just was testing out the waters. So as you just are starting out, don't be afraid to test out a product that doesn't go well. It's okay. You're learning things. Test out a product and then start changing as you see the need to change. Now, what happened to me is my changes came because of my life and also my audience. I started out with being pregnant, right? And within 4 or 5 years of me doing my Etsy shop, I had 3 little kids. Now, it took a lot of time to do those custom dresses. And so I moved to making dress patterns and dress kits. And that worked for me because I didn't have time to do those things. It made a lot more sense time-wise and money-wise to do the kits and the patterns because those were things that I could make quickly and sell quickly. So it's okay if you start out here and you end up here. That's actually the point. We want you to keep evolving. I mean, think about Amazon. Amazon used to sell books. That was it. It just started with selling books. And now it is this huge thing that we all buy something from every day. And it started with books. So start where you are, then take the next step. And trust that you are going to know when it's time to change and when it's time to pivot. Number 4 is today is the right day to start. Now, we are all waiting for that perfect timing, right? For that perfect time to start our business, to put ourselves out there and to try something new. There isn't a perfect time. Actually, there is. It's today. Today is the perfect time to start. So if you're thinking on an idea, just get started. And I guarantee that the idea that you start with today is probably not the idea you're going to end on. Maybe it is, but probably not, right? Your idea is going to evolve, but you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to start your business and start getting feedback from people so that you can create the business you feel called to create. Number 5, our systems are your friend. When I first started, I thought, I've got to create everything custom and everything needed to be its own new product. But the truth is not everything has to be reinvented every time you create it, whether that's an email sequence or a little girl hat. You can have systems in place that make it a lot easier for you to grow your business. So for example, do you know exactly what needs to happen every time a customer comes to you and buys? Do you know? Do they purchase? Do they get a follow-up email? And then do you send an email sequence? That'd be a good idea. This happened a lot when I was doing photography. When I first started out, I didn't have any systems. So someone would say, hey, how much is it to do a photo session with you? And I would give them an answer based on how confident I felt in my photography, how well I knew them, how much I think that they could pay me. That's not great, right? Because suddenly I am having to spend all this mental and emotional energy trying to figure out how much to charge someone. And back then it was really tough. Instead of having a clear system, these are my rates, this is how you sign up, this is how you get a date with me. That is better. And when I moved to that, things changed. My business changed, I showed up differently, and so did my clients. Were there people who said you're too expensive? Yeah, there were. It's totally fine. That's okay. You need to have these systems in place because then you can be confident and go forward and save you time and make you more money. So now here I am a brand and marketing strategist. It has taken me 15 years to get here, but the great thing is all along the way, I have learned different things. I've learned how to do physical products, how to create physical products, how to sell physical products and digital products, how to take better pictures, how to show up here on YouTube, how to look at an overall brand and know exactly what their strategy needs to be. This has all come because I took that first step, and you should too, right? You need to take that first step because who knows where you'll be in 15 years, but you won't be where you want to be if you don't start. All right, my friend, I am so grateful that you've been here. If you haven't gotten my 30-minute content strategy batching worksheets, then you can text content to 951-309-7885 and it'll get them to you, or you can click the link below, and we'll see you next time.